Happy Monday, everybody. Curtis Wilkerson and Andrew Ellis coming to you on this beautiful, beautiful Monday morning here in Fayetteville, downtown, the Natty State Sports Studios. We've got another episode of the Six Pack coming at you. It's been an eventful weekend, Andrew. A lot going on. We got plenty to talk about, man.
We do, and this is like the first time that we could unironically say it's a beautiful day.
True.
Like it's still not perfect weather out there. It's we're waiting for it to get a little bit warmer, but we've said that ironically a lot because the day we launched this company, it was like 4 degrees, and so we've driven into some wild conditions.
Yeah, there's no ice, no snow, no weird fog. So
right, but we can finally say with a straight, honest face, it's a nice day outside.
Yeah,
it's at least an option for us to go out there, which is cool. And I'm hoping to get out there later to watch some more Diamond Hogs action. It's gonna be a good day.
I like that. Yeah, it is gonna be a good day. Yesterday was a good day. Sunday.
That's debatable.
Well, the Super Bowl, though, it's set. And listen, man, Scotty tried to tell us about the Chiefs. He tried to tell us, don't bet against Patrick Mahomes. Chiefs got it done. They beat the Ravens. I think I just need to turn it over to you to give the eulogy for Lamar Jackson. I know it was a tough one.
Listen, so there's a lot to sift through here, and we're not gonna have a full deep dive on Lamar's legacy, but it's one of those things. Did Lamar play horrible? No. It wasn't like a bad game. It was just one of those moments where it's like, hey, you got to step up and win this game. And the Ravens defense played well in the second half. Patrick Mahomes, man, the way the first 9 or 10 passes Mahomes threw, you could tell he was really locked in. And it was like peak Mahomes. And look, credit to the Chiefs because, look, this is not a classic Chiefs team. Like the team that won the Super Bowl last year, this is a substantially worse Chiefs team. This might be the worst team they've had since Mahomes took over as a starting quarterback. You could easily make that argument. I think regular season they literally were. But you could see yesterday that this Chiefs team had that championship DNA and that these guys had been there before. And Mahomes especially, it starts with him. You could just tell it was like one team was a lot tighter than the other. And, there's a lot of pressure that comes with being the 1 seed. And, is it unfair at times that we hash these guys' legacies down to this small sample size and stuff like that? It probably is, but that's the game, man. And Patrick Mahomes, we can all sit here and say we hate Patrick Mahomes and we hate the Chiefs and they're overrated and whatever, but it's like these dudes show up in these moments and they just they rise to the occasion. And I had a buddy text me yesterday, and shout out to Andrew Bell, my guy. I gotta find the stat because he told me what it was. Mahomes is 14-3 in the playoffs, Curtis. That is Mahomes' playoff record.
He's only been a dog.
Last 17, whatever. They went 11-6 in the regular season this year, the Chiefs. He is 14-3 in the postseason. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You know what I mean? Peyton Manning, there was a point in Peyton Manning's career, I don't know what he finished, where he was 10-11.
Yeah.
And we're talking about Peyton Manning, a top 5 quarterback ever.
I actually saw that stat pulled up next to Lamar Jackson saying, hey, it took this guy a long time to kind of break through, so
so what's
give Lamar
now?
time.
2-3, 3-4 or something like that?
Yeah.
And look, that's not a great playoff record. That's a normal quarterback playoff record, crazy or not. Joe Burrow, I think, is off to a pretty good start to his playoff career, but it's it's really hard to if you're winning over 50% of your playoff games, you are a generational guy. You're a generational winner. And so, like I said, Brock Purdy is a generational quarterback, as I was saying, because clearly that's what this thing comes down to. And I think that's what makes it unfortunate for me, Curtis, as a Lamar guy who, look, I love Lamar. Next year when Lamar's in the AFC title game, I'm going to come on this exact program and do the same thing and say I love him. And look, I still love him. He made fun plays yesterday. It's crazy that we're sitting here talking about how this might be a ruining of his legacy for a guy that threw for 272 and ran for 54 yards. Also was his own leading receiver at one point in the game. It's it's unfortunate, but hey, man, these moments are what define guys. And look, I'm not ready to call it a day on Lamar's legacy. He's 26 years old.
Yeah.
He's going to have some, but the windows are never as big as you think they are. We always you remember when the Oklahoma City Thunder went to the finals in 2012 and we were but this group, they'll probably be back in the finals 6 or 7 more times.
Yeah.
That was their window. That was their best chance. And so it's that's what hurts about this. And I say hurts like I am a Ravens fan. I just love Lamar. It's
Hurt
just
for Lamar Jackson, yeah.
It's that, you realistically, you only get 3, maybe 4 chances in your career to have a real Super Bowl. And I feel like this was one of his chances. He wasn't able to make it happen. You could blame him. You could blame his team. I think their O-line kind of sucked yesterday. That's my stance is that the O-line sucks. But
and they were also super undisciplined. I think they had 5 unsportsmanlike conducts. Zay
Flowers pretty much. And I love Zay Flowers. We bet his over, and he smashed it easily. But getting the unsportsmanlike conduct that moves your team back 15 yards and then fumbling at the freaking 1 yard line.
That hurts.
That was kind of the moment where it was like, oh, wow, it's really not going to happen for this team. And like I said, you could tell that one of these teams had been in these moments before and was kind of ready to be there and felt comfortable in this role. And the Ravens did not feel comfortable. And that starts with Lamar. That's everyone. I thought their play calling was bad. But, yeah, Curtis, there was just a lot that went into it. And it was predictable. Unfortunate, and the Super Bowl is not going to be as fun as it should have been, guys. We could have had a Ravens versus Lions Super Bowl. We were very close,
almost
mere
made
inches away.
Yeah,
and instead we're getting Brock Purdy versus Patrick Mahomes and Taylor Swift and Jackson Mahomes.
Yeah, exactly.
It's unfortunate. We don't even have to talk about the Lions 49ers game.
We're talking about it.
We'll talk about it. I panicked and like angrily bet Lions plus 7.5. And so it was pretty funny in the group message when you and Scotty were complaining about it, and I was just like, I gotta be quiet here because I did. I am benefiting from this backdoor touchdown that meant nothing. But did you get a chance to watch either of these games?
Yeah, I watched them both. I caught the tail end though of the Chiefs Ravens, and shout out to Mahomes. Was he like 30 of 39? So he was on his game.
He
Travis
started
Kelce,
off like 12 of 12 or something too. Like he was cooking.
Travis Kelce showed up. He was on his game, but yeah, I was more disappointed in the Ravens and not necessarily Lamar. Like he had that one horrible pass he threw into like triple coverage. But
shout out to the guy calling for the ball in triple coverage. By the way, if we're really getting into defend Lamar territory, there was pass interference on that interception.
Fair.
Now, there were 3 defenders there, any of which could have made the interception, but one of the defenders was shoving Isaiah Likely, who, again, called for the ball in triple coverage.
Right.
Bold move as a rookie. But, it's unfortunate.
Like they got the field goal to cut it to 7 there, and they had a small chance, but still a chance. But then they get back out on defense, the Ravens do, and you got 12 men on the field the first play.
Right.
And the second play, you blow up the right guard, and then you decapitate, the guy, and so you get a personal foul after that. It's like they ruined their own opportunity that they gave themselves at the end. So, yeah, it was very much like a act like you've been there before situation, and the Ravens didn't look like it. And speaking of teams that didn't look like they've been there before, holy shit, like the Lions – up
24-7 and
just
half.
cooking right out of the gates. I mean, they scored within the first minute, and up 24-7. And that third quarter was just that might have been one of the worst collapses I've seen, man.
Well, and also look, we love Dan Campbell on this program.
Whew.
Take your to quote our former boss, take your medicine sometimes. Just kick that field goal, especially whenever like Brock Purdy is the opposing quarterback, and he's gonna need. It took everything for them to get it, and you end up losing by 3 when you passed up and you got stuffed on 4th and 1.
It took like the near interception that became the big catch there. You remember that?
Oh yeah.
I mean, just like what the hell was going on?
When it's like, when you have teams that are in a position where they have to come back, it's like they're going to need some help from you, and getting stuffed on 4th down in a situation like that is exactly what we refer to as help.
Yes.
It's like that's. And especially when it's Brock Purdy, man, and like,
it's tough,
look, Brock Purdy played pretty well yesterday. I'm not like here like gonna hammer it home on Brock Purdy, but it's like, again, this is just not gonna be as fun of a Super Bowl as it could have been. We'll still watch it. We'll still watch Usher. We're excited for that.
Always looking forward to it.
I'll cheer for the Chiefs mostly just because I've got a few Chiefs fans in my life, and also I love greatness. I respect greatness, and Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs and Andy Reid and Travis Kelce, they are great, and so they're it'll make me feel better as like a Texans and Lamar fan. If Mahomes wins 9 Super Bowls, we can at least all play that game where we're like, well, if he didn't exist, C.J. Stroud has 3 rings, or Lamar has, it's like we could do that game. And so it's like, but Tom Brady and all the real greats like LeBron, Tom Brady, and these Michael Jordan and whoever, people that play in their generation are the victims of their success. Mm-hmm. And you think about MJ and all these different stars who like never really got to have the team success and the winning. LeBron, same kind of thing. Steph Curry. I think Mahomes has kind of entered that stratosphere where, we might look up here in 5 years and be like, wow, Joe Burrow doesn't have a Super Bowl. Josh Allen doesn't have a Super Bowl. Lamar doesn't have a Super Bowl. It's like, yeah, this guy's pretty good, man. And, Patrick Mahomes is a cornball, but he's special,
he's
man.
Good at it.
I think people, look, I'm going to cheer against him plenty over the years, but I also think people would be stupid to be like hating and like preying on their downfall. Like, enjoy stuff like this because this is, that's what makes this fun. It's like if Lamar had won yesterday, it would have been fun because the Chiefs are great. And so it's unfortunate it didn't happen. The NFL sucks. I'm out.
Yeah. The Lions had lemon booty. It is what it is. I do think
prime lemon booty.
For the first time believe it or not, I might be on board with the Travis Kelce Taylor Swift thing. I might be on board with it.
Listen, guys.
It was a nice moment down there.
It's a
on
nice
the field,
moment. Also, what I loved is, did you catch the moment between T Swift and Romo?
No, I missed that one.
Tony Romo somehow was like right down there celebrating with the Chiefs, which is pretty funny. But he kind of looked over at Taylor and was like, "Hey, love you," and she was like, "Hey, I love what you do," and like they kind of had a little moment
Like that. I did see the one where when Andy Reid was up there on the podium, he spotted her out. Yeah.
And look, like, I get it if people are like, people hate when like famous people are shoved down their throat. So I get it if you're sick of it or whatever, but it's like
she's sick of it. She
is
was
it
like
really
yelling at the camera
impacting
people.
y'all that much when they cut away to Taylor Swift? Like, who cares, bro? They cut away to Jerry Jones 30 times during Cowboys games.
They cut away to Eminem all the time in the
like,
Detroit games.
Why does that upset people so much?
Yeah.
Like, it would be one thing if like they like had the Taylor Swift cam and they were not showing the plays.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
stuff.
like when they have
like
the bad weather and it's like in the corner of the screen and you can't get away from it. Like they just had Taylor Swift right there. Yeah.
Yeah, like I mean, and they've done crazy stuff like that before, but it's like people really hate it when famous people are highlighted. And look, I get it, but it's like I just feel like it's a weird thing to like be this upset over. And so like I'm kind of with you where I'm like, also like I've been a T Swift fan for a long time. Not a fan. I've enjoyed T Swift's work for a while. My sisters used to listen to her when she was like a country star back in the early days when she was like 19. And so like I've always been generally had positive opinions of T Swift. I've always had pretty positive opinions of Travis Kelce, to be honest with you. Like, he's obviously, arguably the best tight end ever. And so it's like, I've always known he's a great player. And like, I've kind of liked him and his brother. And so it's like, I'm okay with this. Like, I'm kind of like, it is what it is. Like,
as long as he doesn't win Super Bowl MVP and propose on the field or something, I'm good with
if it gets now it will get to a point where it's like really crazy. I'm like, all right, this sucks. And I also, guys, if you're a hater and you're listening to this and you're upset at us telling you can't hate, they're not going to get married. Like, they're going to end up breaking up at some point. So, like, just wait.
Yeah,
your
stay
time
tuned.
will come. Your time will come. But for now, it's like, it's a fun story, And it's fun to, like, look back at stuff like that and be like, oh, yeah.
Right. You know what, Andrew, it's just, man, this has been really tugging at my heartstrings all weekend. It's just a damn shame to me that no sooner than G.J. Kinney becomes one of the sexiest young coaching candidates in the country that his Texas State program receives the death penalty. For whatever reason, he thinks it's a good idea to hire Chad Morris, his former boss at SMU in 2017, by the way, as the wide receiver coach and the passing game coordinator at Texas State.
I could be mistaken, Curtis. I believe G.J. Kinney and Chad Morris worked together at Arkansas.
Yeah.
I think they did. And maybe, I don't know what G.J. Kinney's role was. He was like the recruiting analyst or something like that, but it's kind of funny that...
So he's paying it forward now? Is that what...
I think he's paying it forward, but also it's kind of funny that like Arkansas has been in the somehow in the middle of all these weird sports stories, and so this is another one that's kind of funny.
Dude, like Chad Morris, I do want to pile on to the guy.
Yeah, let's
like,
pile
he
on.
just keeps falling into jobs somehow, and it's weird because everything this man has touched has turned to shit since he accepted the Arkansas job.
Touch.
Like it's just wild to me.
Well, also, I mean, look, he had a great run as the offensive coordinator at Clemson. It's not like Clemson's. I mean, they took it up a notch when he left too. So it's like,
and then he came back and they sucked again.
Right, exactly. And so it's like there really isn't. I mean, we're talking about over a decade now of like everything this guy's done has been horrible.
It's been tough.
And I mean, Allen High School they lose 3 games under him. If I coached Allen High School football this year, I guarantee you we would not lose more than 3 games.
Yeah, 8-2 minimum. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, especially if like Kyler Murray's my quarterback, Jonathan Williams is my running back. I mean, we're talking about the talent that has come through Allen. 3 losses in high school football may not seem like a lot. When it's Allen High School, that's a lot of losses.
It's a lot. That's why you don't stay for more than 1 year when it happens. So it's wild. Like, I don't know, maybe he'll figure some things out. But what this tells me, honestly, is Kenny, he's officially off of my Sam Pittman replacement hot board after next season because he is showing it's just a lack of competent decision making with his staff. Like, you can't deal with that. Sorry.
GJ, if you're listening, and I know you are because you're a huge fan of the 6-pack, just reach out to us. We can figure out a way to get past this. I will look past it if you give me a good enough reason. It can be a stupid reason, but just give me a reason because I love GJ Kinney.
Ugh,
when we were in Little Rock last year.
Yeah.
I had Texas State over Baylor. That was like my favorite bet of the day, and they ended up winning outright, even though I had him plus 21.5. I've loved GJ Kinney. I love what he's been doing. I mean, his team's at Incarnate Word. His offenses are fun. So it's like I'm I'm a fan of GJ Kinney, but yeah, this is a tough one. I'm gonna like sweep. I'm gonna look past this one.
He just needs a better PR team, like somebody to step in. You know, maybe he's got too many yes men on the staff right now, and nobody stepped in and just said,
"He
hey,
needed a no man."
Yeah, like this is a bad idea. Okay?
GJ, by the way,
better.
I would like to apply for that job. I will leave right now if GJ Kinney will hire me to be his no man. You've got plenty of yes men around you. I will be your no man.
Got to have one. Must needs one.
Yeah, Must needs a lot of men right now to help him.
Exactly. We're 2 beers down, but we're gonna stick with the Texas theme here. I had just turn that sucker down. Exactly. I had no intention of addressing the horns down thing again, but did you see the crap at BYU over the weekend?
Of course I saw it.
Like, it's just, so a bunch of Mormons have horns down, painted on their T-shirts, and they were forced to change at the first media timeout. I actually don't think that was a Texas decision, but I think it was a BYU administration. But not only that, but BYU's coach Mark Pope, he's like scolding his own students after the game. He apologized to Texas after the game. Like, that's not what we're all about. Like, what the hell am I missing here? Like, is horns down worse than giving somebody the middle finger? I mean, it's not.
Well, also, horns down is not a new thing. Like,
No.
I remember when I was 5 years old, my brother taught me horns down. Like, horns down is not a new thing.
It's
Why
not
has
a
it
big
had
deal.
a
It's not
rise lately?
It's not even like giving the shocker sign. No, like, it just doesn't make any sense to me.
Which,
like,
again, people shouldn't be offended by that either.
No,
but it's
they shouldn't. Like, it's not racist. It's not homophobic. It's not anti-Semitic. It's not giving somebody the middle finger. Like, I just don't understand why this continues to be a big deal. It's just so bizarre to me.
And look, you mentioned that this is more of a BYU situation. And look, I hate BYU basketball. I've been preying on those guys' downfall all year. Whoever BYU plays in the first round of the NCAA tournament, pick them blindly. They're they smell like a team that is ready to lose a 3-14 game or whatever.
Yeah.
If there's ever been a team that is like screaming upset in the first round, completely devastating finish to a good season, it's BYU. I'm going to clip this. Whenever they do it, I'm going to clip this and put it out there.
As you should. Well, and no disrespect, because he's come a long way as a player, but when Jackson Robinson's your best player.
Again, that's another. And look, we like Jackson Robinson,
love
but
him.
like, we know ball at the end of the day. We know that this isn't gonna have a happy ending. But yeah, with Texas, it's like this isn't their decision to make this a big deal. But it's like, if they think this is going to help, if whoever it is that's kind of leading the charge on this anti-horns down campaign, this is not going to help. Like, you're about to enter the SEC, and now that we all know that you're really sensitive about it, and we've known that for a while, but we know that you're really sensitive about it now, it's like, these guys are going to give it to you. These guys are going to give it to you hard, Curtis. And Texas, you're not going to like it, And so it's like, I think like the way to get everything is just embrace it a little bit. Right. Embrace the villain, like all the fun stories and the teams we love to hate. Like, for instance, Patrick Mahomes and all these guys, they embrace the fact that they're the villain. They embrace all of the you hate them and all that. Like, those are the cool ones. Texas is not even a cool villain anymore. They're just like the program that is a big brand name that is always overrated, and they cry every time you give them horns down. Like, that's not a cool brand anymore.
No.
Has Texas lost its luster?
Yeah, it lost its luster a long time ago. I'm over
Did
it
Jalen
with that,
Catalon,
man.
did he bury the program from the inside?
Yes. Maybe
Y'all wrote off Jalen Catalon too early. All of a sudden, he goes there. I mean, they did go to the playoff and almost win the national title, but
they didn't.
The program as a brand, I feel like Texas is shaky right now.
Maybe Pittman's playing chess and not checkers, and Catalan was like a planted mole to just go in there and.
I don't think Sam Pittman knows how to play chess. I'm just going to level with you. I don't think he knows what the pieces mean, and I don't think he knows how to play chess.
He is like a big checkerboard at Cracker Barrel kind of guy.
He owns me and my family, we used to own one of those. We had a deck and like the big like rug that's like the checkers. The pieces were like this big. We owned one of those.
If there's not one at the lake house in Hot
Pittman
Springs,
seems
I'm
like
disappointed.
a checkers guy.
Yeah, I think
he's like, what does this horse do? I don't know. This horse, I don't like this one. But
why ain't he got hind legs or a saddle?
We love you, Sam Pittman. Come on the Natty State 6-pack.
Nice
We're just
guy.
messing.
We
We're
need
just
you.
messing.
We're halfway through the 6-pack, but we're moving on to an important topic. Sydney Sweeney, if you don't know who that is, turn off your safe search and Google it. She has taken the internet by storm, and she saved Twitter in a variety of ways, but I think there's something in particular that has kind of caught your attention in a funny way. So what do you got for us?
Okay, for anyone that's not really aware, if you're not on Twitter or whatever, Sydney Sweeney went on the program called Hot Ones, which I've been a fan of for years. It's the guy Sean Evans. He gets celebrities and they eat hot wings. He makes them eat hot wings that get progressively hotter as they go. So she did that show which like most celebrities do when they're promoting movies and all that, which she did. And there's, if you've never seen the show, I'd really recommend it because it's actually pretty good. And find your favorite celebrity. He's probably been on there. And but Sydney Sweeney went on there, and so she's kind of the it girl of Twitter right now. Like she's, for lack of a better way, she's a very attractive young woman, and people really have noticed that. And shout out to Big Content Guy on Twitter, Arkansas fan who we love. I don't even know if we can call him a friend of the program because I don't know if he's rocking with it, but
I feel like he's one of us. Though.
He's one of us, though, But I feel like Big Content Guy like willed this into existence. Not her going on Hot Ones, but after she went on Hot Ones, all of the pictures and videos, everyone has just reacted to them. And there's one in particular of her kind of smiling up and looking at admiration at something, and people have clipped that and turned it into a great meme of like my girlfriend when I tell her I've cooked up a 9-way parlay and like all these different things.
Arkansas fans when they see Layden Blocker.
Yeah, like stuff like that. And also people have noticed in the picture, she looks very similar to the Buc-ee's logo. And so, I mean, she's literally, it's like the same exact, like she's looking the same direction. It's actually kind of perfect. But yeah, shout out to BCG, man. I feel like he's been tweeting Sydney Sweeney memes for months.
Oh, yeah. He's been
all over it, which, that's why we follow him. That's why we love him. And so I feel like he was ahead of the curve now, which he is a lot, to be fair. But he was really ahead of the curve because now Sydney Sweeney, everyone is tweeting out. I mean, Bleacher Report's tweeting out Sydney Sweeney memes. So Big Content Guy, shout out to it, man. We appreciate it. And, I'm not going to, we are both married. I mean, we're not married, man. I'm not married. You're married. I'm in a very committed relationship. We're not going to comment further, but the internet has appreciated Sydney Sweeney being very, she's getting pushed forward. And
that they have. Yeah, she's in the limelight for sure.
Also, she's promoting this movie, Madam Web, which is a Spider-Man movie. And I love, Spider-Man's my favorite character of all time, not superhero. My favorite TV movie character of all time. But that Madam Web movie with her and Dakota Johnson is going to stink out loud. It looks like the worst movie of all time. It's made by Sony, not Marvel, which is always sketchy. They do weird stuff like Morbius. Do you remember that movie that was like that was a Sony and not Marvel? Anytime Sony wants to do something without Marvel, it's horrible. And so that's what's going to happen here. So that's what she was promoting. And the fact that you didn't even know that tells you that the promotional team struggled.
Yeah. How about that?
You go on Hot Ones to promote your movie, and all of a sudden everyone's tweeting out, the memes of other stuff. But it is what it is. That's the internet in 2024.
You think they have Sydney Sweeney stuff at Alumni Hall?
Maybe. I think Sydney Sweeney, if she went to Alumni Hall, she would certainly find stuff that she could wear.
I think that's probably more likely. But they do have all kinds of Razorback gear for sure. And if you're looking for that, I'd recommend you go check it out. I mean, baseball season is right around the corner. I know they got every different variety of those hats that people love that they can't find anywhere else. They've got them over at Alumni Hall. A little bit of everything for the entire family. I mean, you can go get some swag there. You can shop for the wife, the kids, if you're so interested. The pets. Yeah, I was telling Scotty earlier, like I might go see if I can get a Stanley Amude jersey for my wiener dog. Just you never know.
As one should, if you have a wiener dog and doesn't have a Stanley Amude jersey, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And what I like is they have all the brands. They got Nike, they've got Columbia, like Patagonia, like they've got all these high level brands. So if you're a pretentious guy who's like, hey, I have to wear my Columbia, I have to wear my Columbia. Like they got that. You can get a Columbia with a hog logo. I mean, they've got it all. Truly the best selection for Razorback gear, and obviously, we're in cahoots, so we say that. But Alumni Hall, they do great work. Check out the website. Check out that link below that you see there.
Yeah,
specifically
exactly.
Check out that link. But you will be pleased if you're looking for hog gear. You will be pleased with what Alumni Hall has to offer.
That's right. And if you're listening on the podcast back home, it's 3417 North College Avenue in Fayetteville. Alumni Hall, the ultimate Razorback shopping destination. That link, by the way, that you need to check out, nattystatesports.com/alumni hall.
Simple enough.
The Royal Rumble happened this weekend. Not on Sunday,
Not on Sunday.
That's how I grew up. I don't know about you, but like you get to check that out. Like maybe you get lucky enough to buy the pay-per-view before illegal streaming was a thing, and like you would just be dead at school on Monday, but you didn't care because it happened. It's a Saturday event now.
Well, and I remember going to church and begging my mom. Like I would spend the whole time at church being like, "Mom, tonight they got the Royal Rumble and Brock Lesnar." And, I was like explaining to her why we have to purchase it. I think I successfully talked her in once. But yeah, I mean, I always thought it was a Sunday thing. So when I heard that the Royal Rumble was happening this weekend, I was like, "Oh hell yeah!" And then Saturday night, I see memes. I see all these videos coming out. I'm like, "Oh, I guess it's I guess it's now. Interesting, but
right. So I was really paying close attention, believe it or not, to the men's side of this. But did you checked out the women's Royal Rumble? You got something for me there?
So look, I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you guys like I was tapped in. Like I
Okay.
didn't buy the Royal Rumble. I didn't even watch it. Until about an hour ago, I didn't know who won the men's one. But I want to shout out my brother-in-law Eric Robinson, who I texted on Saturday, and I was like, "Who should I bet on for the Royal Rumble?" And he said either Cody Rhodes or CM Punk, but he would lean Cody Rhodes.
Great
and
call.
as you mentioned, those were the last two guys in it.
Great call.
He was tapped in, and I couldn't find a place to bet it. But by the way, couldn't find a place to bet it. Just saying. ... But yeah, I thought so. Shout out to him. He nailed it. But what really caught my attention was the women's Royal Rumble. Curtis, are you familiar with a young woman by the name of Jade Cargill?
I'm not.
You are not? Well,
No.
she made her in-ring debut for the WWE, at least in terms of actually wrestling, on Saturday night at the Rumble. So she was, I believe, the first women's champion of AEW wrestling, All Elite Wrestling, which is kind of
I saw this. Okay,
the most successful branch. You know, the WWE has had that for where like TNA wrestling and like ECW and like other like spin-offs that have been super successful. AEW is probably the most realistically successful one. But she's 31 years old, and she was kind of one of the early stars of AEW. And so she was a free agent this past year, and it was a huge deal of like, oh, who's she going to sign with? And look, I'm saying this like I was tapped in. I learned who this woman was. I don't want to say that. If someone had put a gun to my head 3 days ago and been like, Jade Cargill, do you know who she is? I might have been able to produce that she was a wrestler. Like I might have been vaguely familiar of her existence. But, dude, she tore it up at the Women's Royal Rumble. So first off, again, Curtis and I really weren't super familiar. When they played her music, that place came unglued. It was like and I'm not talking about like, you know, the WWE has kind of shifted in the last 20 years of like to kids, but I'm seeing 40-year-old men like hands on their head, like tapping, like elbowing their buddies, like dude. So it's like I could tell, I was like, okay, this girl, whoever this is, like about to walk out of here. She's
for real. Yeah.
She comes out, and I mean, she's a great looking woman. She looks like a star. She's jacked. I mean, she could not be more shredded. Like I could not take my eyes off of this woman, Curtis. And look, I'm not saying that in a weird way. I just mean like,
well, you got to have the pop to be.
You got to have the pop. And look, you know, the WWE is such a fascinating industry, but it's like star power is star power. This girl has star power, dude. I'm talking about everyone in that arena was going nuts. The way she was walking, the way she carries herself. You could tell she's just like got that charisma. And so she gets in the ring, and, you know, everyone in the ring already knew who she was. Like, it was clear she was like a star. And the best moment, so they had this girl named Nia Long in WWE who is, look, I'm not saying this mean, she's easily 225 pounds. Like, she's one of the bigger women's wrestlers. This girl, Jade Cargill, who, let's see, I don't know if they have a height and weight for her here. Not a huge person, but she's, like I said, they list her on Wikipedia at 5'10", 160, Jade Cargill.
Okay.
So like a big girl, but not like and you know, she's shredded. She picks up this girl, Nia Long, and has her on one shoulder, and she's flexing with the other arm. Eliminates her like it was nothing.
Yeah.
And then they had a moment with Bianca Belair, who is kind of one of the more prominent WWE women, I believe a former champion, and they have a thing where they both are like staring at each other, and they're holding their person, and they kind of throw the person off at the same time. They have a nice little stare down where and there's like the WrestleMania sign in the background. It's like, I saw that clip, Curtis. That was the first clip I saw of this whole thing. Right away, I was like, I don't know who these women are, but I'm in. I want to see them fight at WrestleMania. I'm going to buy it. It was so cool, and the crowd was going crazy. The guy I don't know who it was that was calling, the commentator was like, let's go. He was screaming like.
Love it.
And look, that's kind of like the epitome of wrestling is like you just see a crowd full of people cheering for something that you don't even know what's going on, and you're like, oh, that's cool. Like, that's kind of how we all got into wrestling. And look, I've loved the WWE for a while, but man, I was so psyched watching that and just seeing the reaction. I mean, that reel of them having the stare down had like 7 million views on YouTube. Like,
right.
Oh, it was
really
just
cool,
like,
man.
It honestly, like, it made me happy. Like, I couldn't stop talking to Hillary about it. I was like, dude, there's this girl, Jade Cargill. She's awesome. And like the next day, all my Twitter, my YouTube recommended was all like Royal Rumble moments.
Yeah.
I watched I sent it to you and Scotty, like it was like the top 25 surprise entrant. I was just watching all this It really like made me feel like I was like, man, dude, wrestling is back, dude. Like it made me feel good to like enjoy that again. And look, man, like we're kind of joking here, but like I'm the WrestleMania. I'm tuning into WrestleMania. I haven't been keeping up with WWE. Hell, I might tune into Monday Night Raw tonight just if I can see Jade Cargill a little bit more. But man, I'm all in on her, man. Like star power, she's got it. I would recommend anyone, if they don't know who I'm talking about, look her up and you'll be into it. I was texting, my brother-in-law that gave me the good pick, and he was like, man, I became a fan the first time I saw her in AEW. Like, I think everybody kind of has that, reaction to her, and she's special. So I'm all the way back in on the WWE. I'm back in, man.
I love it, man. And I kind of feel like the entertainment value is probably as good now as it has been since we were younger.
Oh, I would say for sure.
And and for me, like, WrestleMania is awesome. Like, it's the Mecca, but the Royal Rumble's always been my favorite. Like, there's just something about that match where it's like, you don't know who's going to get called, enter the ring, win. Like, it's 30 different folks. You're throwing them out of the ring. It's like mass chaos, but it's so entertaining. And I was kind of surprised, checking it out, that there were still quite a few wrestlers who, like, I knew who they were.
They always bring back the people for, like, Hacksaw Jim Duggan competed in the Royal Rumble like 3 years ago.
Right.
Like, they bring back, like, big names for this.
It was cool to see, like, CM Punk getting back in there was awesome. Obviously,
he recently just came back to the WWE.
Exactly,
because he was at AEW, I believe. So it's like
like Bobby Lashley was in there. I was like, man, like that's from my heyday.
Cody Rhodes also. I mean, Dusty Rhodes. For those that don't know, Cody Rhodes is Dusty Rhodes' son. I mean, he's a pretty big name, and he also was another one that was at AEW that kind of rejuvenated his career there and is back in the WWE. So it's like, I think AEW. We mentioned Jade and Cody and CM Punk, all these guys that have been there. They've kind of helped raise the standard in wrestling. And so it's like kind of made WWE have to make smarter decisions. But I agree, man. The star power, I mean, Roman Reigns, I don't even think he did anything last night, but he's a huge name. You always have Brock Lesnar. Like, WWE has more stars than they've had since the early 2000s, you could argue. So, yeah, man. And look, like, I don't, we've been accused of being too woke on this program multiple times before. So if this upsets people, I'm sorry. It's really cool to see two black women potentially headlining WrestleMania and having this moment where it's really cool because divas have been a part of the WWE forever, but as I know that it wasn't always like a true it wasn't like people were really tuning in to watch the divas wrestle. Right. It was a little, and so it's cool to see these girls like kind of making that trend of being, the people who headline these shows and the people that fans are freaking out about. And like Trish Stratus, shout out to her, by the way. She's like everything that we're talking about with Jade Cargill is because of Trish Stratus, I would argue. Like, she kind of, moved it forward. And so it's really cool to see that happen. And, like, when I was a kid, if you would have told me that there would ever be a WrestleMania headlined by two black women, I would have been like, we're probably 100 years away. It just really wasn't a thing that was an option. It wasn't even a thing that could happen. So, like I said, man, I'm all in. And by the way, speaking of Jade Cargill, you know where she went to school, Curtis?
No.
Jacksonville University. Same as JD Notae.
So she's the second most famous person.
She's the second coolest Jacksonville University attendee that I know of, at least.
That's big time, man.
That is big time.
But, and shout out to Cody Rhodes. Like, he's the first back-to-back Royal Rumble winner since Stone Cold Steve Austin in 97,
wow,
98.
Is that right?
Goes all the way back to that. So that's pretty cool because that was like, that was my heyday watching that. It was like, oh, yeah, Stone Cold's the man. So
I got to explain, yesterday I went to Pizzeria Ruby. No free ads, but shout out to Pizzeria Ruby, the best place in town. And I
picked up from there last night, so I get it.
Well, I was drinking beer. I don't drink beer much, Curtis, but I was having some beers.
Okay.
Absolutely. That pitcher had no chance, dude. It didn't have a chance.
Love
man. That. But anyways, I was drinking and I was like, I think I said something like, I want another beer. Give me a beer. That Stone Cold, and Hillary didn't recognize it. And I was like, oh, that's Stone Cold Steve Austin. And she was like, Stone Cold. And I was like,
you didn't know?
By the time I started talking about him, she did kind of know, but it was like really fun for me to explain Stone Cold Steve Austin's existence.
What a character, man.
You know what I mean? I was like,
he'd be canceled so quick now. But
oh yeah, dude. But Stone Cold's the man. He never dropped a beer. Every time he would request a beer and they would throw it to him, there's a highlight package. He had hands crazy. And if
he offers you a beer and you don't drink it, doesn't matter who you are. That's bad news
and also,
for you.
if he's offering you a beer, we know you're getting stunned in about 8 seconds is what is probably going to happen. But God, man, there's nothing better than wrestling, dude. There's nothing better than just
fun, man.
Sports entertainment, honestly. Mm-hmm. And so, like, we talk about the NFL, like that's what makes it. Like, we love the sports and we love the actual, we love to break it down, but there's just something cool about like a crowd full of people being there and like going crazy for something. Whether it's football, basketball, whatever, like wrestling. It's just cool to see stars like light up an arena, and that's kind of what makes wrestling fun. And I'm all in, man. I was really like, it brought me back the other day, kind of seeing some of these highlights and diving back into it. It's cool stuff.
And as much as I hate to admit it, and then we'll move on, but I gotta say, Logan Paul is really good at it.
Logan Paul's a phenomenal performer.
He's
dude.
really, really good
and
at
look,
it.
we can talk about how he's a douchebag and all that.
Yes.
And we don't disagree. he was born for the WWE.
Yeah.
Man. He's a great athlete, and he's just like, he's a good performer. You know, like he knows how to do this stuff, and he's clearly like him and Jake, like we can talk about what they're doing and what we like and don't like. You can tell that they were inspired by the Stone Colds and the Rocks and the John Cena's. Like everything they do is like there's a little bit of reverence in it, where it's like they're kind of paying respect almost to the performers that came before. And I mean, even Conor McGregor, who Jake has been kind of trying to. I think that's his end game. He wants to eventually fight Conor, and I'm getting more and more worried that it will happen by the end.
I know.
I think if Conor loses a fight or two in the next couple of years, he's probably going to end up boxing Jake Paul, and you know it's going to be interesting. But I think it's like I think you can tell that that's what they're going for, and they're almost openly doing that. And so look, I'm kind of entertained by the whole thing, and
he's got a belt.
Yeah, and look, dude, if you hate him, that's what makes it fun too. Like that's why we like this. It's like it's fun to hate these people and love them or whatever you want to do. But again, I'm kind of buzzing from it. I'm excited.
It's good times. Good times.
Good stuff.
We're 5 beers down. We're going to go to the final beer
beers.
here, but it's more of like a flight of beers or a bunch of shot glasses because, like, again, you know, like we ran into this Friday, the same thing today. Like, there's just so much to talk about. It's kind of hard to narrow it down to 6, but there's definitely a handful of things that we wanted to hit on pretty quick. First, for me,
let's start with the bad news.
Got to start on a somber note. You know, Arkansas basketball lost to Kentucky. Competitive game. They lost by 6 in Bud Walton Arena, college game day, all that. I regret to inform everyone who is not already aware that the 7th-ranked Arkansas Razorbacks managers also lost by 6 to number 1 Kentucky in Bud Walton Arena Friday night, 70-64. Hard-fought game, but they came up a little bit short. So, anyway, we promoted these guys. We put them on a pedestal, trying to get them noticed, and they go out there and have a dud against Kentucky. We'll see how they bounce back.
Yeah, I mean, it happens. It is what it is.
We didn't get to watch, by the way.
We didn't get to watch, and maybe that's one could argue that's why that happened. I don't know.
People were talking.
For our manager boys that are listening, let us in the building, man. Like, just we're out there, we're banging on the doors. We're like, let us in. Yeah. Just let us in, man. It won't be that big of a deal. But yeah, we still rock with the managers. They'll bounce back from this. They'll learn from this and they'll grow. They'll get in the film room. I have no doubt.
Good luck, Missouri, if that's a thing.
Good luck. Yeah, we woke up pissed off today, Missouri. We're coming at you.
Great practice this day.
But Curtis, I do want to share some good news in the non-Big 3 Arkansas sports world.
Okay.
The Arkansas gymnastics team. This is the coolest gymnastics team Arkansas's maybe ever had. They're really good, Curtis. I don't know. I haven't looked at the ranking. I'm sure the rankings will come out today. They should still be in the top 5 because they had another win on Saturday, beating Auburn. And Curtis, we also got to call attention to the fact that we came on this program and I said that I can't wait to see Suni Lee at Barnhill. She simply does not compete for the Auburn Tigers anymore. She is no longer at school there. I don't know what she's doing, but she's not there.
I think people should appreciate that we knew Suni Lee was at Auburn at one point. We witnessed it in person.
We watched her in person. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. We are Suni Lee observers, but just does not go to Auburn anymore, and maybe that's why Arkansas was able to pull it out. But man, I want to touch on a few things, Curtis. So, Lauren Williams from Bentonville. To my knowledge, someone correct me if I'm wrong here, because again, we sometimes make these mistakes. I believe she is the first ever in-state gym back from the state of Arkansas. Like, Arkansas
really?
So Arkansas does not recruit. Gymnastics is such a unique sport where you kind of have to be, if you're going to be a high-level gymnast, you have to start when you're like a year and a half old, and you have to do it for life. So, these people usually come from all over, California, Denver, wherever. There's pockets where if you want to be a gymnast, you kind of have to go there. But shout out to Lauren Williams from Bentonville. So she's a sophomore. So last year she kind of made her debut, and she was a huge part of their team last year. And I believe she competed all around for them, which means you compete in all 4 events. It's very rare to do that. She's not competing all around this year, I don't believe. But she had a 9.95 on floor the other day. I believe that's back-to-back 9.95s on floor. And people were doing the 10 chant after she performed. And the gymnastics team tweeted it out if you want to watch the routine. But people were kind of doing the 10 chant. And
love that.
But I love that she's a in-state gym back and that she's really good. And it's we talk about people paving the way. I think she's awesome, and she should get some more love because I think she's kind of paving the way for, if you're a young girl in the state of Arkansas right now going to these gym meets, you're like, hey, I want to compete for the Razorbacks. Now you have a girl from Bentonville who's out there doing it week in and week out. It's really cool to see that, and I mean she's a fun to watch, and she's just a sophomore, so she's going to be around for a few more years. Another senior I want to give some love to is Maddie Jones. She's been around forever. She's competed in just about, I think at some point she's competed in every event. She had 2 9.9s the other day. She had a 9.9 on bars, and I believe a 9.9 on beam and a 9.9 on floor. So Maddie Jones killed it the other night.
Man.
She's having a great start to her. I believe this is like her 5th year at Arkansas. So wanted to give those girls some love. I love with the gymnastics team. Jordan
Better
Weber.
up that buyout on Jordan Weaver.
Yeah. Everybody
Keep
better be watching out. Jordan Weber, she's going to be a hot commodity after this team. If this team keeps it up, and they've got 2 huge meets coming up. They're going to LSU this weekend, Friday, and they're next weekend they're going to Florida. 2 places they have historically not done well at.
Is Livy Dunn still at LSU or not?
I believe she is.
Okay.
We'll find out this weekend.
We'll
I don't know. We'll find out. But she didn't compete when LSU came to Barnhill last year. Livy Dunn just a little the lights got a little too bright for her. So
Barnhill does that to people.
We'll see if she shows up this weekend. But if she does, she better be ready to get outperformed by Lauren Williams. And by the way, shout out to Jensen Scalzo, who I shouted out on the show. I believe she had a 9.825 on beam, but literally every week she hits her beam, Curtis. And she's had some 9.9, but every week she kills her beam, and I love it. She did it again. Shout out to you, Jensen Scalzo. But gymnastics, man, they might be the most fun team on campus, and that's coming from a guy who loves this baseball program. Right. The gymnastics team might be the coolest team on campus right now for Arkansas.
Good for them, man. Did Mike Neighbors have another strong showing without Talia Scott? Showing.
He did, yeah. And shout out to Sailor Poffenbarger, 8 threes.
Killing it.
Yeah. And that was
she's
a big
good,
one.
Man. And she was she averaging like 30 rebounds a game? That's only a slight exaggeration. She's it's
good,
crazy.
Man. Yeah, but she's good. She's good. I mean, she's like a stretch 4, I guess.
Yeah.
She's fun to watch. And like without Talia Scott, like those are 2 big wins this week.
They're hooping, man. That was on the road yesterday, right?
Yeah. So I believe they're now 4-3 in SEC play. So it's like, again, we talked about them the other day that they're kind of on that bubble, but seems like they're trending towards being a little bit more secure. And look, Mike Neighbors has been a polarizing figure at Arkansas. Some fans hate him, some love him. If you're not cheering for the guy, like everyone should be cheering for this guy. If you're an Arkansas fan, and the girls clearly love him. Like we can talk about his deficiencies or what he's messed up as a coach, but the girls definitely love him.
He's doing a good job with this team.
And I think this year is a huge year where like all eyes are on them. A lot of pressure, like we talked about. So it's good to see them kind of rise into the occasion. And these next 6 weeks are going to be really interesting for the women's basketball team.
Yeah, I know you're excited about baseball getting started. Softball's going to be good too.
Softball's going to be good, man. I'm telling you, like. I know it's kind of crazy that the football program and basketball teams are having down years, but it's like Arkansas sports are
athletics as a whole.
Yeah, they're doing they're as good as they've ever been, man. So I think some of these teams, like I'm not saying you should be like not following the football team, I'm just saying like some of these teams should be getting some love, man. I think they're awesome, and if no one else will. We will do it on here on the 6-pack.
We'll hit them on the 6-pack. I love it. You got anything else?
I don't know if I have much else, Curtis.
I think we nailed it, man.
I texted Curtis last night because we were always trying to determine our things. I was like, hey, I have like a built-in UFC update I can always do. Or if you hear me giving UFC updates on this show, it's because we couldn't find a 6th topic, and that's what we're doing. But at any point, there's a lot of fun fights coming up in the UFC, Curtis, that you and I will probably be discussing off air soon. But
absolutely,
a lot of good stuff going on in the world. And hey, as always, hit us up with whatever you want to hear us talk about.
Please,
we will talk about anything. If your son threw a perfect game this weekend in his U12 travel tournament, let us know. We'll give him a nod.
It's almost like a free cameo. So
yeah, it's like we're just if you want love, we're just gonna. That's what we're doing here. We're spreading positivity, spreading love, and telling people what they should care about.
That's right. The vibes are
what
always
everyone
good.
wants.
The vibes are always good on the 6-pack. All right, I think we've done it.
We've done it, Curtis. We finished our 6-pack.
Cool, man. It's good stuff. We will be back on Wednesday with more. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of weird stuff that happens between now and then. So I'm looking forward to it, brother.
Absolutely.
All right.
Appreciate y'all tuning in.
As always, on behalf of Curtis Wilkerson, Andrew Ellis, Natty State Sports, we will catch you guys on Wednesday.